Next, poet Luis López was an educator.
Not just any educator, he taught for nearly 50 years, first high school, then at the college level.
And his students talk about how present he was in the classroom, a gift he also brings to the page.
Mesa County Libraries in Grand Junction produced this story, which highlights the essential voice of the Chicano narrative.
My name is Longino Luis López. I taught for a total of 49 years. That's a lot of years. And never hated going to work any morning. From the time that I was a kid, I've always wanted to be an artist, believe it or not, because my brother was the best artist ever known. At 18, 19 years old, he got 2 scholarships to go to college, one in baseball and the other in art. Then he got schizophrenia, and he stopped drawing, he stopped doing all kinds of stuff, just lived in the streets for a long, long time. And so I have always wanted to do that myself, but poetry is where I live, and I'm constantly doing it. When I did my first book, I thought, man, I got one book, that's great. And then the second book came out almost right afterwards, so they were published at the same time. Sun-bleached, splintered pickets hanging by rusty nails to what is left. Ancient, broken men hanging by heartbeats to what is left.
I know Dr. Lopez from college. He was my Mythology 101 professor and also my honors thesis advisor my senior year. So I did a poetry chapbook and he was my advisor for that. He was just such a kind human being as well as a teacher, the kind of person that would talk to you in the hallway. And you know, so many professors would just, there was that separation, you know, between student and professor, and you could always tell he was deeply thinking about something, and I think you kind of have that with a lot of poets anyways. They kind of have that faraway look, but he was never distracted, and he was always engaged, and he was always just right there with you, and I really appreciated that. He made me push myself and write things I hated writing poetry at that time, and you know, so he made me write it. He made me write sonnets and sestinas and you know, all these different types of rhyming kind of poems, and just really pushed me to know the classics and to read the classics and to really get a much better foundation, and it helped my poetry so much. It was really, really helpful.
The way I look at it is everyone can learn poetry. Everyone can be a poet. And they say, well, no, I can't become a poet. Do you play music? Yeah. Do you sing? That's all poetry, playing music and singing. Almost every poem that a poet writes, and I know for sure that I write, I have an idea of where I'm going. I start writing, and then it just develops into something else. When I first started writing in Spanglish, no one would publish my work. No one. They just laugh, you know, at it. And but Rodolfo and I did a book called Bless Me Ultima, which had the Spanglish and all that in it. That book won all kinds of awards, and because he did that book, it became more accepted, so that my first book was accepted because of that. And so, yeah, he writes on the back of this, you know, and he doesn't say that he's the reason, but yeah, it's his book that made us not feel ashamed to write in our language. That's the thing is, because you're ashamed to write in your language. You know, it's like when you do a piece of artwork, you don't always have an audience in mind. You just want to express yourself on the canvas or on the whatever you're doing. Like even with tin work, sometimes the expression is, I want it to be beautiful, you know, and beautiful will be different today than what it is tomorrow.
Beautiful will be different today than it is tomorrow.
Powerful stuff.
That's right. Thanks to Mesa County Libraries for sharing that piece with us.